Welcome to Interview, a production of the Government Information Service. I am Lucia. During the hurricane season, weather advisories are very important and you need to pay attention to them. To help us understand a little bit more about weather advisories is the Director of MET Services Venantius Descartes. Welcome.
Hi.
We want to first establish, what does the MET office do?
The MET office, we basically provide information about the weather and sometimes about climate. We are very active. Well, all the time we are active. We work on a 24-hour basis. We provide a lot of information to aircraft for the safety of aircraft operation. We make observations every hour, and we also monitor the weather on a 24-hour basis.
Now, information like what do you provide? Because I know we have the weather advisory sometime. We talk about millimeters of rain at GFL Charles and Huonora. So apart from rainfall, what other information do you provide?
Okay, weather is made up of elements. We provide information about, well, like you said, rainfall. Temperature is also very important. Visibility, the visibility of the atmosphere is very important. Information about cloud heights, direction of movement of clouds, you know, the relative humidity, how moist the atmosphere is. All these elements make up weather, and we provide information on all of them.
I think one of my favorite parts of the weather forecast is when you say winds east, northeasterly.
Yeah.
What does that actually mean?
Okay, it actually tells the direction from which the wind is blowing, not the direction to which it's blowing, but the direction from which it's blowing. If the winds are coming from the east, it's coming from the east, but if it's coming from the east, normally it would go to the west. You know,
so why is it important to have all these different elements of the weather studied and monitored 24/7 from a Met Office perspective?
Okay. Aircraft operation has a lot to do with it. If the wind, it varies drastically, it could be, you know, it could be very bad for aircraft operation. If the wind speed vary, not just the direction, but if the wind speed also, the pilot, he needs to know. And also, well, people themselves, they need to know the direction from which the wind is blowing for different reasons, for the different activities. Because we are in the trade wind belt, and if the wind would change from, you know, what is normal, we also want people to know. Okay,
and now tell us, I know especially during disaster time or leading up to a disaster, the Met Office has a sister agency. Well, we can say it's a sister agency, NEMO. Tell us, how does the Met Office work in conjunction with NEMO? Because we know sometimes the roles get confused.
Yes. Okay, there is close coordination between the Met Office and NEMO. It appears to be stronger during what we call the hurricane season or the rainy season, because these are the times that the meteorological hazards, these are the times they, well, affect the islands more frequently. It is during this hurricane season, but we have this close collaboration with NEMO all the time. What happens if we, for some reason, we believe that a system, a weather system, will be affecting St. Lucia? One of the first agencies that we collaborate with will be NEMO. And during, if we expect a system to come, if it does affect St. Lucia, before it affects St. Lucia, we are in conversation with NEMO continuously or continually. And while it is affecting the island, this collaboration and this conversation continues until after it has passed. And we believe that it is of no threat to the island. Until that time, we are in constant collaboration with NEMO.
I know the Met Office usually sends out regular weather updates in the morning, lunchtime, and in the evening.
Yeah, this is done routinely, yeah.
Does it increase anytime there's a potential natural disaster, for example, a hurricane or tropical storm?
Yes, well, the MET Services, it has a responsibility under the national plan. And we have, well, our responsibility usually before an event is expected to affect the island. We have our responsibility. What we would do would ensure that all our systems are working, and then we would ensure that we update NEMO first and then other agencies. Most times, if we cannot update NEMO first, we update NEMO together with the other agencies. But one of the very first agencies that we give information would be NEMO.
I want to go into the different technical terms that we hear when we hear the Met Office advisories, weather advisories. But we'll get into that just a little bit, because that is going to be a very interesting part of our discussion.
Yes.
Viewers, we are due for a break. We'll be back after this.
St. Lucia, our home. St. Lucia represents different things to each of us. What do you like about St. Lucia?
Strong communities,
natural resources,
thriving industries,
democracy,
national pride,
our unique culture,
creativity.
While we may all have different views, we can work together to build a stronger nation. Let us each play our part.
Welcome back to Interview, a production of the Government Information Service. Today's discussion all about the weather. Mr. Descartes, we hear certain things when we hear the weather advisories, and even when we read it online from your website. Upper level trough, low pressure system. It's written in English, it's spoken in English, but it does not translate. Tell us just an overview of some of the terms that we really need to look out for and should raise a red flag for us in the public.
Okay. Anytime you hear a low pressure system or an upper level trough, what should come to your mind is probably winds a little stronger than usual, and rain, or sometimes gustiness of the wind. These terms, like you rightly said, they are technical, and sometimes they are difficult to explain to the layman. But I believe, even if you mention these terms, I believe it's just a matter of giving additional information. But what the public should pay attention to is the forecast itself and the effects of these terms, like the upper level trough, the low pressure system, tropical wave, all this. It just really ties up the cause, what really caused whatever you are forecasting, whatever conditions that you are forecasting. But what I believe the public should really pay attention to is what the forecast is for. Is it for continued cloudiness? Is it heavy showers? Because a lot of people, what they're really interested in is whether it will rain, whether it will rain for a long time, how heavy the rain is. I believe that is what they're more interested in.
And the precautions, there are always precautions associated with your different weather advisories. For example, you hear sea bathers should exercise caution, or sometimes you issue warnings or precautions to small craft operators. These precautions, are they, I know a lot of people sometimes gloss over them because they hear it so often. How important is it that people pay attention to these precautions?
They are very important. If the wind speed exceeds a certain amount, you would expect sometimes the waves to increase. Now, if the waves are higher than usual, you need to tell the public, and they themselves, they need to, take whatever precaution that they should take. If, let's say, and also the tide as well, when the tide is high and when the tide is low, you know that when the tide is low, you can walk much further, into the sea without, the sea being deep. But when the tide is high, the sea comes, right on the shore. So this kind of information, when we give those kinds of information, we need the public to take them very seriously. We would not just add them if we didn't believe that they were very significant, you know, at the time that we add them.
The Met Office is the official source for weather information for St. Lucia.
Yes, it is.
And we know that.
Yes.
However, with the advent of the internet, we know that, for example, the Met Office, they get information from NOAA,
Yes.
right? However, NOAA's website is accessible to the public.
Yes.
And a lot of times you find before the official word comes out from the Met Office, you have people either calling radio stations or online issuing information from NOAA. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, it is, if they understand the information that they get from the internet, it is all right. But if the information, they don't really understand, you know, the perspective of the information on the internet, it can be misleading. You know, I'll give you an example. NOAA, like the National Hurricane Center in Miami, it is what we call an RSMC, a Regionalized Specialized Meteorological Center. And it is given certain duties from WMO to provide watches and warning. But what it gives is a regional. The warnings that it gives is not specific to any island like St. Lucia. You understand? So if they give a warning, what they're saying that the warning is specific for the region. You understand? Now, a hurricane, say a hurricane warning, a hurricane watch, specific for the region, it would, what it is saying is that it covers that whole region. Like a hurricane warning, whatever information it gives, it would say anywhere in that region, you know, you could expect hurricane conditions within 24 hours. But what we give for St. Lucia is specific, is a national advisory.
So whether, for example, the eye of the storm is going to pass, or just the tailwinds that we're going to get hit with, or whether we will get hit at all.
Yes, so when we get that information from NOAA, we have to then take it and tailor it down to our island.
So you have to interpret the data for St. Lucia.
Right, right. So if this, well, they said they would give, usually they would give the positions. They would give the position of the eye, they would give the expected direction, they would give an intensity forecast if they expect it to, you know, if they expect the system to intensify. And then we have to take this information and interpret it and downscale it to our situation in St. Lucia.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Descartes. This has been such an enlightening interview, and thank you so very much for coming into our studios.
Yes. You finished?
Yes, thank you so much. Viewers, thank you so very much for joining us for interview this very special program on weather and everything that you need to know about the MET services. If you want more information, please contact the ministry responsible under your parent ministry.
Yeah.
And if you do want the weather information, you can log on to www.slumet.gov.lc. The website is updated regularly, and you can check out the regular forecast, or you can listen to your local radio stations. This has been Interview, a production of the Government Information Service. I am Lucia Ali. Thank you so very much for viewing, and stay tuned to the National Television Network.